We are live. Hey everyone, welcome.
Everyone.
Welcome to our yarn rooms. I usually say welcome to my yarn room, but I love your yarn room.
Thanks.
I love that you've got all your little friends that you've made back behind you.
Thanks. Yeah, they're everywhere. It's getting to the
Yeah,
point where I've made so many, they're kind of just like crowding in on me.
so cute. So for those of you who don't know, this is Ashley Parker, otherwise known as the Loopy Lamb. And you've been on the show as here and with Kim and the yarn hookers, I think
Yeah.
with everyone. So I think that a lot of the people in the chat will know you too. Very exciting. And I, of course, am the yarn geek. So,
Yeah.
there's that. let me say
Thanks
some.
for having me.
Well, yeah, I was super excited. It's so exciting whenever you come to the show because I'm like, I did my very first live ever with you.
It's true. I
Hi,
believe
Jess.
that was my first live too. I think we both did our first lives together, I
That's
believe.
right.
Yeah, I was a nervous wreck.
Wow. I was too. I was like, I hope I don't do anything dumb.
And if you want to see that video,
It is on Ashley's channel. You are going to want to go take a look at it.
and then come back here and tell us how much better we are.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us how much more natural we are in front of the camera.
Yes.
Hi, Miss Jamie. Hi, Terry. Hi, Alice. Hello, hello. Oh, Jamie asked where we've got a lot of Canadians in the group.
Oh,
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. So, where are you from in Canada, Jamie? Wants
I
to.
am in Ontario, probably about an hour or so from Toronto, if you're familiar with the Toronto area at all.
I'm not real familiar with it, but
Well, any of the Canadians probably know where Toronto is.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Hi, Jeannie. So what are you working on today, Ashley?
Well, when we started, I was just playing around doing something like a granny stitch type of shawl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm attending what is essentially almost the equivalent of like a Vogue knitting thing here in Canada called Woolstock
Mm-hmm.
next week. And I was like, you know what? I don't have anything new to wear to that. So maybe I'll play around and make a shawl or something to wear.
Oh, fun. That's now. Are you crocheting it to wear to a knitting place?
No, no, it's just like a wool and fiber event.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
but it, like for this area, it's considered to be a big deal, kind of like the like Vogue knitting or whatever. I think not.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Um, I think I'm misremembering the name of the event, but there's like a yarn event in the States that's very similar. It's all
Yeah.
about fibers and stuff, but it's here in Ontario.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, are you doing anything official there, or are you just going to be like like having
Um,
fun,
I'm just attending this year.
just attending?
Yeah, I'm hoping to teach next year.
Ooh,
I was just inquiring about that the other day.
uh-huh.
So
Ooh,
that would be
neat.
fun.
That would be fun. What would you teach?
I'm not sure. Probably, I mean, obviously something crochet related. It depends on what they're looking for.
Right.
From what I could see this year from the people that they have teaching, they don't really have any crochet happening.
Oh,
So I
wow.
could do like a beginner's class or even just teach how to make a toy or tips and tricks class. So they,
Hmm.
there's options. Just depends on what themes they're going with next year.
Right, right. Sure. So, I haven't been on Instagram a whole lot lately, and I kind of come in and out. So I'm kind of like I'm not keeping up to date on what you've got going on. What have you got going on?
All kinds of things. And I swear, every time you and I have a chat, most of my stuff is secret.
Oh
I know.
no!
So,
No!
so I'm working on a big project. It's going to be releasing next year
Mhm.
in the fall. And it's, if you can kind of put two and two together, it has been taking me a whole year to put together and will be released in the fall. And you might be able to buy it at a bookstore. So I'm working on that right now. And I just finished filming some stuff for Annie's. So those classes will come out soon. And
Ooh.
I'm working on designing next year's crochet along, because I've been doing a lot of polling and like asking people what they want to see for next year. Because if you
Mhm,
recall, I have that year-long crochet along happening right now,
mhm,
making a DIY advent calendar. And we're going to be doing another one next year, but we're
mhm.
going to be doing a boy doll next year instead of the girl doll that we did this year.
Oh, cool. Those dolls are so cute too.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen your dolls. I'm sure some of them have, but they are just adorable. And you've got all the little outfits that you make to go with them.
Yeah, and that's what goes in the advent calendar, right? Instead of,
Yeah.
you know, the for me, the motivation for me behind it was I always get my kids like these really disposable like Kinder Surprise advent calendars, or the ones that come with the little plastic toys, and
Sure.
my kids play with them for like 10 minutes and then you're stepping on them later because
Mhm.
they're over it, right? And I was like, I want to make them something that's a little bit more unique, that's going to sustain their interest and not end up in the trash immediately. And so
Right.
my daughter loves my dolls, and so that's where I came up with the idea where we make a doll and then we fill an advent calendar with enough clothes and different accessories for the doll
Mhm.
to fill the advent calendar.
That's
So
a
we
really neat.
thanks. I
So
had so much fun with it.
so how many so I bet you have like, I don't know. Do you have any idea of how many people are crocheting along with you and keeping up? Or
Off the top of my head, no, because I didn't have like a formalized sign up. I just wanted to be
Mhm.
as casual as possible.
Sure.
And because the projects are small, we wanted it to be more like um, less pressure, right? Because I feel like a lot of crochet alongs are so much pressure to keep up, but these
Yeah.
projects are small, so they're manageable, right? Um, but now I've lost my train of thought. Gosh, my mouth gets ahead of me.
Um, the same. I'm the same.
What was I saying? We were talking about the advent calendar, how many people? So I'm not sure how many people. Right
Right.
off the top of the at the top of the crochet along, there's probably about, I'd say probably about 400 people that were joining us, which was really, really great. I know that there are some people that have joined since then, and others that have kind of taken a break and will be
Mhm.
joining back, once they get back into crochet season. Oh no, I think you're frozen.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
There we go. We had a big freeze there for a moment. I am so sorry.
Oh, no
My
worries.
I forgot my stuff here. My technology works way better on the data than it does on the Wi-Fi, and I still had it on Wi-Fi.
Oh,
So,
that's okay.
oops. I'm sorry. So, have you been designing any more little stuffies lately, or
I
little
recently, yeah, I recently designed this Polly Pumpkin and released him. He has a step-by-step video tutorial, and this is a seamless
Mhm.
toy. Like there's no sewing or anything. And you can also make him, without the face if you'd like. That was the most recent one. Um, I'm always designing toys. It's just some of them are for that big secret project right now that,
Right?
they haven't
Ooh,
released
right. That is a secret, but
all the
we
hints.
but we're gonna keep trying to guess what it is.
I keep telling every time, I don't know how I get myself wrapped into all these secret projects because I'm the worst at keeping a secret. Ever since we signed the contract, I'm like, when can I tell people? Now? Now? They're like, it's not even dry. Like, chill out.
chill, chill. It's not going to be till next fall. It's
Yeah.
going to be a whole year.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and we'll start advertising it earlier than that, like before
Right.
it's
Sure.
released. However, they're like, you need to just like relax a little bit. They're so nice. So like, we understand the excitement. I'm like, you really don't.
You don't know the powers of my mouth.
It's like, I am an adult-sized child, okay? I am busting to tell everybody.
But that makes it fun too, because it's like, I'm in a secret.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jamie asked, what size hook would that little Pauline be made from?
Polly is made with a 3.5 millimeter hook and a worsted weight yarn. And if you bear with me a second, you can also make him with the jumbo yarns, because I know that's the trend right now. This one was
I like that one.
This was made with a blanket yarn and an 8 millimeter hook.
Okay.
And the same pattern.
And those are the patterns that you have, like that's the pattern you have the tutorial for.
Yes.
And it's, don't you like put up all your patterns free on your blog?
Yes. Like I do have the occasional paid pattern that I put up when I need to kind of generate more income to cover costs for the blog. But 99% of my patterns are free, and I'm trying to create more step-by-step videos to go along with the patterns as well.
Right. But but people can also purchase PDFs of your patterns too, right? Okay. Yeah, but I love your blog. I just last year I got obsessed with making your like your color work or your tapestry.
Yes.
Blocks that had like the pumpkin and the coffee, and what else was there? You have a bunch of those.
I went a little crazy, especially last year at Halloween. I really got into it and designed a whole bunch of them. So I actually posted about them today and showing all my Halloween ones on my Instagram. There's a ghost, the ghoster coaster, I called it. There's a witch hat, which was done because I had so many people like, please make a witch hat next. And I was like, fine, I'll squeeze one in. It was like 2 days before Halloween. I'm like, I'm on it. There's a spider. There's the Halloween pumpkin. And then there was one more. I can't remember, but that's just the Halloween one. There's 5 Halloween ones. Yeah. And then I've got a ton. Like this summer I came out with one for a Christmas blog hop, and it's holly. It's like a holly berries in a leaf. It's really fun and festive. But I've got tons of them, tons.
I know. It's amazing. Like I remember last Halloween, you were just coming out with those squares so fast. I'm not done with the last one yet.
Well, when you're inspired, your hook just flies. And then I was like, oh no, it's Halloween's over. I got to stop making Halloween stuff. Christmas, what? Yeah.
I have no idea. So, oh my gosh, it's so cute. I got to tell you, this is a little off topic, but there's a big cedar tree right outside my window. Okay. And I'm on the 2nd floor, and I see a little nest of squirrels. There's like a squirrel all around in the tree, and it's so cute. Then I was thinking, have you made a amigurumi squirrel yet?
I actually did. When I first started crocheting, I actually was doing custom orders, and I didn't know at the time that what I was doing was designing. And so I designed my own squirrel, but I just never released it. I got busy, and I'm like, yeah, I should do that squirrel. I should like finally get it all done and tested and everything. And then I'm like, oh, look, something new. And I totally forget about it, but I have done it. It just hasn't been out yet. I have to get to that.
Well, I can't wait for that, because I love squirrels, and my daughter is, she's on her personal campaign to play Squirrel Girl in any Marvel thing that comes out. So I'm definitely going to have to make that one. Awesome. Now, Crochet King asked, do you have a playlist especially for Halloween and Christmas?
Not for Halloween, but for Christmas, I absolutely do. And it's funny, my husband has a ban on any sort of Christmas music before my daughter's birthday, which is the first week of December.
Right.
He's not a big Christmas person. He thinks that Christmas should be like the week of actual Christmas. And I'm just like, November 1st, let's put up the tree. Let's get the music. And he's like, absolutely not. So when our daughter was born in early December, he's like, well, we can't ruin her birthday, you know, it has to be Christmas after her birthday. But I mean, she's 6, so she's absolutely on board with, you know, Christmas anytime yet. So
Yeah. Christmas is good. You don't need to worry about that, Dad. It's
yeah,
okay.
it's not like I keep telling you, it's not like her birthday's like Boxing Day or, you know, right close to Christmas. There's almost 3 weeks between the two dates. I was like,
Right.
she's fine.
And for a 6-year-old, that's like an eternity.
Yeah.
Especially when you're waiting, you know, for Christmas presents.
Exactly. I'm just like, it's fine. Don't you worry too much about it.
Yeah. So now I forget, is your daughter older than your son, or is your son older than your daughter?
My son is older than my daughter. He is 8, and I misspoke. I said she's 6, but she's going to be 6. She's 5 now.
Okay.
So
still a little baby. They're almost finished being babies. Isn't that so hard?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like their friends have a younger sister. So both their best friends are brother and sister, which is super convenient. But they have a little sister, and she's so little. She just started like kindergarten, and she's adorable. I'm like, oh, I remember when they were that small. It wasn't really that long ago.
Any little brothers or sisters in the future, do you think?
No.
2 is enough.
Oh yes, 2 is absolutely enough for us. And how old is your granddaughter now?
She is a year and a half.
I was just saying, it's like she's got to be a year and a half now.
Yeah, she's running around like crazy, being cute. It's whenever I watch her on Mondays, Tuesdays, and every other Friday.
Oh,
and then
okay.
her other grandma, Ginger, which is crazy that she has another grandma named
I was
Ginger.
gonna say, that's insane.
I know, watches her on the days that I don't. And so, or, you know, weekdays while Brandy's teaching. And it's hard on the days that I don't have her because I want to see her, but I get nothing done on the days that I have her, you know, kind of like when all the kids were little. It's amazing how you forget, you know.
Yeah.
Or at least I did, how much work they are.
I mean, I just forget. I forget just in like a short span of time. Like I had both kids home all summer with me, and I struggled with trying to keep them entertained,
right?
You know, not becoming screen zombies, but then also, you know, working my full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And then school, I was like, okay, school's going to make it so much easier. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about lunches and all the, you know, getting out the door madness. Like there's pros and cons of each stage, but
yeah,
I am definitely appreciating the span where they're at school. Uninterrupted
without a doubt. I think we've talked about this every single time you've been on, like the balance of being able to do everything you need to do and taking care of the kids. And
yeah, I get asked that a lot, is like, how do you do it all? And it's just like, I don't know. I wake up, I do stuff, I drop at night, and I do it again the next day.
right. But it's fun. It's fun stuff. But it's when you're doing something you really love, it's super fun.
Well, that, and I when I have like a stressful day, I try to remind myself how grateful I am that I'm in this opportunity where I can be at home doing something that I love, but also being here and available for them when they need me, right? That's a huge thing. And so although one day is stressful, it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's, you know, I'm glad to have that stressful day and be able to have that day.
Yeah, for sure. Tracy says, I appreciate Ashley. She's really helped me learn amigurumi. You're a great teacher,
thanks, Tracy. I'm glad I've been helpful.
Yeah. Hi, Jelly Ellie. Hi, Patty. Hi, Judy. Yeah. And now I love that. I remember when we first started, you know, on that first live, and you said you have your husband help you with all the like video and stuff like that, which is wonderful.
Yes, thank goodness.
And you know what? Now I've just forgotten what I was talking about.
We're talking about my husband helping me with my
Yeah,
videos.
yeah, but I forgot where I was going with. It
That's all
happens.
right.
It happens all the time. I'll remember it in a few minutes.
It's like I'm at the point where I go into the kitchen. I'm like, wait, why am I here?
Yeah, yeah. Why in the
I
world?
remember after I leave the kitchen, have to go back.
Right. Well, and just let me tell you, it gets worse as you get older.
I believe you. When I was pregnant with my kids, I was told that the baby brain was real, but
Hmm.
it never goes away. And I remember telling that person, I'm like, I'm fine because I was like, I'm sharp. It's cool. I had great
Right.
memory. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's real. And then like when you have a second one, it just compounds. So I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that again, or I'll just be mush.
Yeah. Imagine. I mean, I'm giving birth to five,
Oh my gosh.
and then gaining another two. Oh, Emily says no, Ginger. It's the menopause. Well, yeah, it's that. It's that. I think everybody in the chat can completely relate with us.
At least we're not by ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those of you who haven't seen you before, how did you start? How did you start crocheting and knitting and everything? Or
So
not knitting, but
well, I knit, not as much because I like crochet better.
mhm,
Um, actually, it's funny. I actually started out knitting and then went to crochet.
mhm,
So after I had my son, I had really bad postpartum depression to
mhm.
the point where I was like afraid to go to sleep for days at a time. And
Wow.
it was really bad. And my doctor at the time just kind of like kept brushing it off and telling me like I was fine. And I knew I wasn't fine.
Right.
And so I was talking to a friend and they're like, well, you should try something to keep your hands busy, see if that will help.
Mhm.
Just to help kind of pause the inner monologue for a little bit. So when I was a kid, I tried knitting and I was okay, didn't learn too much. I crochet just never stuck. It was just like, boop, this is way too hard. And
Yeah.
so it just never worked. So I started loom knitting because that
Mhm.
was really accessible. I didn't need a lot. And I started like designing my own hats. Again, didn't know I was designing. I'm just like, I'm gonna make this up. And I was doing like Farewell hats and stuff. And it was,
Oh,
it was
wow.
great. But then I was just like, it's not a challenge anymore. I want to
Mhm,
do something different. And I kept seeing all this great crochet stuff on Pinterest. So
mhm,
I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I remember sitting on the beach where our family goes, all of us go up to this cottage every year. And we're all sitting on the beach, and my husband's aunt was crocheting. And I'm like, you know how to crochet? Teach me. And she's like, honestly, she's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. She's like, and I just like it make a fabric. I don't even know what this stitch is called. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought it was like a weird way of brushing me off, but I'm like, okay, because like you're making it happen. You're making a blanket, but okay.
right.
And so then later that night we're talking, and she's like, you know what? I think Michael's takes classes. We should go and take a Michael's class. I'm like, let's do it. And so we did. So we went and took a Michael's class. It was like one of my first times out of the house since having my son. I was just like a wreck. And
Mhm.
all of the time, because I had kept trying by myself, it wasn't clicking. I went and took one class and everything made sense. It was like one of those like Twilight Zone moments. I'm like, everything makes sense now. And I came
That's
back to the
cool.
second class and I'd crocheted a bonnet. I had like started all these other projects, and the teacher's like, what?
Who are
Yeah,
you?
she's like, didn't you not know even where to put the hook last week? I'm like, yeah, but look at this cool bonnet I just made. And then I was that in second class, instead of doing what she had suggested, I ended up making an octopus. And she's like, yeah, we can do some more complex things if you want. And my aunt's like, I don't think you need to go back. 'Cause
Yeah.
I started getting all these books from the library. They thought I was crazy. I took like every crochet book out at once.
Nice.
And then I
Because
just couldn't stop.
we don't know what it's like to overdo it, do we?
No, absolutely not.
No. What was your favorite very favorite first thing you ever made?
I don't know. I made a lot right in the beginning.
Hmm.
I think maybe I made this little lamb hat by All About Amy for
Hmm.
my daughter, and she wore it everywhere and she loved it. And that hat is actually what kind of hat started me thinking about crochet as a career, because she'd wear the
Hmm.
hat out because it's Canada, it's cold,
Right.
and people would pull us aside and go, "Oh my God, where did you get that hat?" And I'm like, "Oh, I made it." And they're like, "Can you make me one?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know you, but I guess." And they're like, "I'll pay you. I'll pay you." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And so I thought that was amazing. And then it just people started asking me all the time, "Will you make me this? Will you make me this?" And then I just started selling crochet stuff.
That's really neat. That's really cool. That now, is that the hat that has like it has like the popcorn stitches
Yeah,
and
the
the
little
little
bobble.
ears? Oh, that's such a cute hat.
Oh,
Yeah.
she looked so cute in it. Oh my gosh, when she outgrew it, I'm like, "I'm gonna make you this hat every year until you're 70 and I can't hold a hook anymore." And Steve's like, "Okay, like calm down."
But what, 10 years from now on Instagram, you'll be posting pictures of your daughter going to high school with that hat on.
I should.
That would be so great.
It would be. I'm gonna have to make her another one now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And your son probably wouldn't wear one, right?
No. I mean, he'd probably wear it just because he's super supportive of me
Aw,
and what I do, but he wouldn't, like, ask me for one. If
sure.
I was like, "Hey, bud, do you think you could wear this for me in this, like, picture?" He'd be like, "I guess," and he'd just, like, stand there and wear it.
Oh, but that's so nice. Yeah, my boys, all my kids went through a time where they're like, no, mom, absolutely not. And you are not allowed to post anything on the socials of us wearing it unless we have given our explicit permission. Gee. Jessica says, I want to try amigurumi, but I am scared that I will sew the arms and legs on crooked or mess it up somehow.
So, the one thing I will say is, like, when I started amigurumi, my first one was a mess, like, disastrous proportions. I wish I still had it. But at the time, I was so proud of it. I gifted it to a friend, and I was like, "You will love this."
Hmm.
Like, they had no choice. They had to love it.
Right.
Anyways, but if you would like, on my blog, I have a post that's called "How to Improve Your Amigurumi," and it specifically focuses on sewing on using pins to get the placement of your arms and legs for your amigurumi correct,
Oh,
and it holds your pieces in place, and because they're pins, you can, like, pop them off and move them around until you get the placement right, and that's what I do. Like, for instance, this doll here, this one specifically, I'm looking at you, Amy, and, um, she and I had quite the argument about the arms because I kept thinking, "I've got the good placement." I'd start sewing and be like, "Darn it, follow my own advice and use the use the pins."
hmm.
But yeah, I do have an article on that, and I'm working actually on a tutorial on sewing on the arms and the legs, as I've had a lot of requests for that lately.
Oh, neat. That's what I was. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Thank you for the super sticker. Or that's not a super sticker. That's a um, super chat. Thank you. So, like if somebody were just starting out, didn't know anything about crocheting or amigurumi, like they really wanted to make your amigurumis
Okay.
because you've got cute amigurumis. What would you, how would you tell them to go about it? Like, what would they look at your blog post first, or would they go onto your YouTube?
If
Or
if like, and we're talking like zero experience, you can hold a
zero?
hook and yarn and that's it. I'd say go to the YouTube channel, find one of the beginner amigurumis like Bob and Betty Bird or Polly Pumpkin. One of the more basic ones, you're going to probably be like, "I want to make this doll." Don't do it. Go to the really, really beginner ones, like the smaller ones, and then move up to the bigger projects like the
Mhm.
dolls with the clothes and stuff, because they do become a more complex because you have to match gauge. Just like for
Mhm.
real people clothes, you have to match
Right.
gauge to fit it on the person or the doll.
Wow. Can Can you show everybody some of the things that you've made in the background? The
Sure.
little faux fur dolls are just crazy. They look like they're actual like stuffed animals made with fur.
All right, I got a whole bunch of them here.
They are so cute.
All right.
Alice says, if you mess it up, you mess it up. Then you have a cute creature to keep you company.
It's true. And I find, like, especially like now that we're talking about the fur projects, people are like, oh, I can't feel my stitches. I've had people like actually scream at me because they've struggled so much with the fur.
Ooh.
And when they're freaking out, all I hear is, you're afraid to fail. I get that. I totally get that. However, it's for most people, it's just a hobby. You can pull it out. You can frog your project if it's not working. And if you mess it up, you mess it up. I mean,
Yeah.
with fur, it's really hard to mess up because you can't see anything. And that's what I love about it, is you can have the sloppiest seams in the world and nobody can tell because the fur covers it up. So I have a personal philosophy, and I hope other people hear it and adopt it, is that if it scares you or you're afraid to fail, you should absolutely do it, and you should absolutely try it. And if you fail, do it again, because the practice makes perfect and you'll get there.
I exactly agree. You just keep on trying. You keep, and every time you try, you'll get, even if you just get 1% better.
I mean,
Eventually.
it took me years to learn how to do a single crochet stitch. And now I'm designing toys, and this is what I do for a living. So as long as you persevere and you don't just, toss the hook and say, forget this, this is what I get so often with the fur yarn, is like, this is impossible. And I'm just like, no,
No,
it isn't. I'm not doing anything different than you are. I just take a deep breath, and I have a lot of patience.
right. Yeah. You have to. When you're teaching people, you have to have a lot of patience.
Right.
That's what Michelle agrees. She says, I keep telling people, you must fail to learn.
Exactly.
That's how we learn. And just
look at history. A lot of the greatest failures have turned out to be like huge successes, right? And those things wouldn't exist without that failure happening.
Exactly.
So you never know. Just, all you can do is practice.
And that little guy is so cute. That's my spirit animal.
Yes, this is Seth the Sloth. He is one of my absolute favorites.
Love him. His little face.
I know. And then this is my other favorite. I messed up his face a little bit. This is Otis, the owl.
I just love the way the fur yarn is white on the inside, so it like looks really like an owl's eyes.
Yeah, it just highlights the eyes. And then this is Bears and Bear. This was designed for my son because he wanted a classic teddy bear, and so he has a matching one that he sleeps with.
And this is my favorite.
I always put him on my head. This is Tarantula.
He's perfect. He would forget the bunny, which, by the way, somebody wants to know how she can get that pattern, the bunny hat pattern. Just
the lamb hat.
Yes,
that's on the All About Amy AMI website.
Okay,
all
about Amy. Everybody remember that, because I'm gonna forget. I won't forget it. I just ask you tomorrow.
Yeah, as I say, just message me. And then this is Parker Penguin. I love him.
He's adorable. I remember when you first made him, and everybody would, and I think you came on one of the lives when you first made him.
Yes.
And
I had just come back from vacation. I had just designed him.
Yeah.
We're talking about how my husband jokes that I'm like a Christmas elf because he goes to sleep and he wakes up and there's a new toy in the house.
That's so much fun. That's got to be fun for your whole family.
Yeah. The kids are crazy about it. Like, I'm reviewing this book right now, this new book by Vanessa Muncy, who I'm obsessed with,
Mhm.
called Crocheted Bees, Bugs, and Butterflies. She, like, her crochet work is very realistic. It is, every piece she makes is a work of art. And so I'm reviewing the book, and my kid's obsessed with bugs. So she's, every time I get a review book, and it's amigurumi, she's like flipping through the pages, like, oh, I'll take that. I'll take that. And the bug book, oh my gosh. She's looking at it today just before I came on. She's like, Mom, I think you need to make me a big mantis, because there's a mantis in it, a praying mantis. And I'm like,
What?
well, I'm like, the praying mantis in it's only 4 inches big. And she's like, I want it to be like, I want to be able to cuddle it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
A praying mantis.
She loves bugs, right? Like, she
That's
has
so.
her own little colony of snails on our porch.
Oh wow.
And so now she's tasked me with making a cuddle-sized praying mantis, which is not weird at all.
No, not weird. You know, sometimes our kids surprise us and just come up with things out of the blue that you're like, are you sure we didn't get you switched?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And like, this project is made with thread in a, like, I think it's a 1.25 millimeter hook.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, yeah. Like, even if blanket yarn, it's not even going to be that big. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well,
Like,
you
it
can
should be
just
fun.
tell her to imagine he's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Like, I just said, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot to show you, if anybody wants to try their hand at fur yarn, but is afraid of getting into amigurumi, I have these as a free pattern, and I forgot my cat ears upstairs, but this is just a headband that I made little bear ears for. And I have cat ears. They're both available for free. And I think it's the bear ears that I have a video tutorial for as well. So you can
over here on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I love all the things. Now, what are all of the different things you do on your YouTube channel?
Well, I do book reviews, yarn reviews, tutorials, and like, besides just like stitch tutorials and technique tutorials, I also do step-by-step patterns.
And I've noticed that on your Instagram reels, you do a lot of stitch tutorials.
Yes, I've been trying to do those, see if there's enough interest in them. Like, yesterday I did one for how to do the single crochet join, where you can eliminate the slip stitch and just join with a single crochet.
And that's when I have the worst time with tutorials. And so how do you, like, when you do the reels, how many of the reels slip stitch tutorials do you think you've done?
Like, tutorial total or just slip stitch?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say stitch tutorials, not slip stitch.
I think I've probably done 4 so far.
Okay.
Just for the reels. Like, on YouTube, I have a lot more, and on my blog, I have
right.
more.
Sure. I'm gearing myself to do that. I think I've always been doing that, but so
it's hard if you film with your phone. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard if you film on your phone, which I do.
Right.
Because, like, I have my setup here.
Yeah.
You have like an arm, but then you have to try and like see past your phone underneath to like crochet, but like keep your hands centered. And
yeah,
so
it's a whole process. Annie says she just subscribed to your channel. I know you guys go over, subscribe to Ashley's channel. You will love everything that she has on there. I've been looking at more crochet books lately. And when you choose a book to review, like a crochet book, do you like look on Amazon and figure out, oh, that one looks neat? Or do you go to the bookstore? Like, where do you find your crochet books that give you inspiration and all that?
So it's funny. So this process has evolved over time. So when I first started, there wasn't really too many people doing crochet book reviews. And I had all these books I was getting from the library, and I'd talk about reading this book or that book on Instagram, and people would ask my opinion. So I was like, well, why don't I do reviews of these? Like, I love to read. I read regular book reviews all the time, so why not put them together? So I
Right.
did that, and I was just started with getting books from the library, right? Because I was just consuming more books than I could even afford to buy at the time.
Sure.
And so I was using library books, and then
Hmm.
I realized like they didn't look as great in photos, right?
Right.
They had all
Right.
the stickers and stuff on them. And so some of them I started to buy, and people were gifting them to me because they're like, oh man, she's crochet crazy. Let's get her every book we can find,
Oh,
right? Which is great.
right.
And so I was like, this is amazing, more content.
Hmm.
And then I started building relationships with publishers. I was reaching out to them and said, like, hey, like, I really am interested in reviewing books for you.
Hmm.
How do I get a review copy of, X book? And so I started with like two publishers, and they gave me a chance, and we started building a really good relationship. And now some of them will just send me books before they're coming out. They're like, hey, we've got this book coming out, like Vanessa Muncy's publisher. They're like, hey, Ashley, we've got this book coming out. We know you love Vanessa. Do you want to take a look at her book and review it? I'm like, absolutely. Like, I mean, they know my address, and sometimes books will just show up,
Oh, wow.
which is great. But it took a while to build those relationships for them to trust
Sure.
me and to send them to me. But all of the publishers I work with know that I absolutely do not guarantee a good review.
Right. Right.
As long as they are okay with me sharing my honest opinion on a book, then they can
Mhm.
feel free to send it to me, and I'll share that on social media and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the first one I think I watched of your book reviews were the little, um, was it the food one? I don't know, of the little, like the little tiny amigurumi.
Oh, I've
Uh,
done a couple of like
yeah.
micro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the micro kit.
Yeah. And I was like, how can people even do the very little things? Have you ever made the little tiny amigurumis like that?
I did. I made one from that kit for the
Uh-huh.
review. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't too bad. I did for my second one. I tried to do the one with the black thread. Forget
Mhm.
it.
Oh, forget
The
it.
black. The black was really hard. Um, but the other ones, like you just really need a lot of patience, and it didn't look great. I was capable of doing it, but
Mhm.
you need to practice because your tension will change dramatically crocheting at such a small
Oh,
product
sure.
and small gauge that it's not going to be perfect the first time. So I tried a couple times. It was, they turned out okay, not to what I wanted. And I was like, you know what, I'm just not enjoying this process as much as I want to.
Mhm.
I much, prefer to make a cuddle size toy or something like that. So it's
Yeah.
not impossible. It's just like anything when you're learning something new is that you have to have patience with yourself.
Right. And plus it's like you've got to be making what you like.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, if this were to like not, you know, inspire me, or I wasn't passionate about it anymore, that would be really hard. And that was when I started doing this as a business. Everyone's like, are you going to be able to do this all the time? Like, I
Mhm.
know you really think that you're going to love it, but turning your passion into a business can really suck the passion out of it, right?
Mhm.
But luckily I'm super insane, so
Yeah.
it's all working out.
That's one thing I noticed about you doing reels.
That
It's
I'm
like
super insane.
yeah, when I first met you, you were so, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to be too crazy to talk to her because you're like, very, very professional and very, but lately it's great. I love the reels because you do get crazy.
I sang in one the other day. I considered picking up drinking because I was like, "Oh my god, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?" And I got talked into it by some family members, like, "It's fine. Just press play and just ignore it." And then I like, or play, publish, whatever. And I did it, and I was
Right.
like, "Ugh, not doing that again."
Yeah. I have now exposed myself to the world.
And like exactly. In my defense, like when you first met me, I was still working HR, right? I was that was my
Right,
job
right,
before this.
right.
And you're always like, I'm HR, I'm super professional. But I was probably like the worst HR person ever because behind the scenes, I'm just like cracking jokes and I can
Yeah,
be professional, but I like to have fun. Life is too serious to take yourself seriously all the time. I mean, heck, I wear these ears probably two times a week, right? Sometimes wear a bear suit, like full body bear suit to pick my kids up to school. So, I mean, you got to
that's
have
great.
fun.
Exactly. And you have your bear ears on, you're drinking out of a Hogwarts cup, you know.
Yeah. Living life.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Life's too short to not have fun. Oh, IB
Exactly.
Serenity asked, what is your favorite hook brand?
I wonder. I wonder. It's Furls.
For sure. Furls is amazing.
Yes, I
Now,
love their hooks, and I got to meet all the girls from Furls, the Furls girls, when I went to the CGOA conference this
oh,
July
that's
in
so
New
cool.
Orleans, which was
Are they all,
amazing.
and they're all super nice, right?
Oh yeah, they're amazing. And like Pam from
Hmm.
Furls actually lives here in Ontario too.
Oh,
And so
cool.
we live like a couple of hours from each other, but we've never actually met.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
was so excited to meet her. And it was funny. I was on the second floor of the hotel, and there's like a big open area and with a balcony looking down to the lobby. And I'm just standing there waiting for my friend who's in class. And I look down and I see Pam, and I'm like, Pam! And I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just do that?
That's hilarious.
And then she turns around, she's like, oh my gosh, Ashley. She's like, do you want to come down? Am I coming up? Are we coming? And we're just like yelling across the hotel. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
Well,
these really thinks I'm nuts.
well, it's crazy, when you meet people online, it really, like, sometimes you just don't even feel like you have never met in
Yeah.
person. You know, you just get to, I really was surprised at that aspect of you know, doing YouTube and Instagram and everything, how you can really form friendships and relationships with people in these, I guess that's why it's called social media.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we've met and we've formed a relationship. And like, when I went to the conference, I met many other designers and people that I've only chatted with online, which was amazing.
Hmm.
But the one thing that was like a huge thing for me was I was talking to my friend Carol that I talk to every day online, and I have
Uh-huh.
for like 2 years.
Hmm.
And I told her I was going, and like probably about a week before the conference, she sent me a message. She's like, so who's all going to this thing? And like all
Hmm.
nonchalant. I'm like, I don't know. Like I list off some people. She's like, well, I guess I better start packing because I just bought my tickets because she booked the trip just so we could finally meet
Oh,
in person.
that
And
is
so
so cool.
I know. And so we actually got to the airport the exact same time, and we spent the entire trip together. I had an absolute blast. So it was just,
That
I
is
mean, if without having met her on Instagram, that trip would have been,
right.
it was still been fun, but not as fun because we did everything together.
Right, right, sure. The IB Serenity says she's broken 3 of your 3.5 millimeter prim hooks while crocheting amigurumi. Oh my gosh. Now that's what I love. Do you find, like, with the furls hooks, I like, you like different certain ones for different projects. Like the smaller hooks of the Odysseys are the only hooks that I will use for small, little projects.
Yeah, I
With,
used all like the Furls Odysseys for all my
yeah,
small projects, like three and
yeah.
a half. I have like a gift card for Furls, and I've been just sitting there waiting and watching for them to get those 3.5s back in stock because I'm like, I have one, but I could use, 2 or 3 more. Um, but for the bigger ones, like right now, I'm using this is the Streamline Swirl
Uh-huh.
one,
Hmm.
and I like these for just for a lot of different things. But like for instance, like blanket yarn, I like to use
Yeah.
something different. It just depends on what I'm working with, right?
Sure, sure. Um, IB Serenity says, oh no, wait a minute. Jessica says, what would your advice be for someone who wants to start a YouTube channel?
Ooh, this is tough. It's probably not the day to ask me this question. Um, so probably first and foremost, I would say grow a thick skin if you don't already have one. It can be really, really tough.
Mhm.
And other thing, it would be to get really comfortable with your technology, your camera, as well as an editing software, because as much as we want to think that you can just film something and throw it up there and you're going to be perfect, it's
Right.
not going to happen. I mean, if you're like me, you can stutter over every second word and say the wrong word or just forget what you're talking about while you're teaching something, and then your husband has to go out and cut 15 minutes while you do it all over again. So get used to your technology and have patience, because it does take a lot of perseverance and effort on your part, like
Right.
continuous like almost like religious regular effort on your part to grow a channel to the point where you're earning money from it.
Right. Right. I I remember I've listened. I don't know if you do you ever listen to any of the YouTube guys that talk about channel growth and all that kind of stuff.
Sometimes I
I,
like Think Media or
yeah, that's who I was thinking of. But he was talking about how there's a fine line. First of all, you just need to do it.
yes,
Just if you don't know anything, you don't know it, so just do it.
yeah.
And then learn everything as you're going, but continue to do it, because the only way you're going to learn is by doing it and then failing sometimes. And you just keep getting back on that bike. And
Well, I mean, that's what I did. Honestly, like what you just said is the entirety of my career to this point. When
Mhm,
I started my blog, again, this is one of those things where I was terrified to do it
mhm,
and putting myself out there, because I didn't have a very thick skin. It was even though I was in HR, I was very
right.
nervous to put myself out there.
Sure.
And I knew nothing about blogging, but you know what? I figured out enough to post a pattern,
Mhm.
and that was it. And I learned it along the way. That might not have, if I could do it again, I wouldn't do it that way. However, you
Right.
know, but it's the same thing with the YouTube channel. My husband was like, "You must start one. This is huge, will be huge for your business." And I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, I don't want to be on camera. No, don't look at me." And then, but then I was like, well, he makes sense. So it scares me. So guess what? I'm going to do it. And then we've learned about it as we go. Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know all the things. Just, take a deep breath, get the best that you can, and
Yep.
then just put yourself out there.
And do what you know. And
Right,
and
exactly.
another thing is to definitely, and which I'm glad I've been doing, is educate yourself along the way.
Yes.
um learn by other. I've learned everything I know from people on YouTube, which is crazy because that's what I'm trying to learn it for. So
Well,
but
and the
crochet.
other thing is that you have to also be willing to, if you want to go the distances, you have to eventually invest in yourself and your
Exactly.
business, right? Like if
Exactly.
you can start with an iPhone, that's great if that's what worked
Mhm.
for you, but maybe eventually you need to, upgrade to a, SLR or DSLR
Sure.
or whatever, right? You just have to be willing to make those investments in yourself
Mhm.
and continue to learn along the way.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, Crochet King asked for someone to write their first pattern. I've made a bag by myself, and a lot of people have asked for the pattern and intimidated to write it, but I want to. What advice would you give for that?
So go by the craft yarn standards. That's a huge one. So
Hmm.
craftyarncouncil.com, check them out, use those standards. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to make anything fancy. Use the standardized language, and then test it. And one thing that a lot of, if you're going to offer the pattern in any capacity besides just like emailing it to your friends, you want to post it on a blog, you want to put it out on an Etsy shop or whatever, get it tech edited, because they're going to make sure all your numbers add up. They're going to make sure you're in line with standards and that it all makes sense. You can have testers, which is great. I mean, I know that Ginger's an amazing tester, But I've also had testers who are like, this is the best pattern I've ever had. And then I've didn't have a tech editor and I released it and it was littered with errors, but they just kind of my testers did their own thing, figured it out and just never said anything. So a tech editor is kind of like a safety net, double checking all of that stuff. And I've had vice versa, testers who've caught things that editors haven't, and editors who've caught stuff that tech editors have, testers haven't. So it's kind of all part of the same package that helps you get a good quality pattern out there, if that's what you're wanting to do.
Right, right. As many eyes and hands as you can get on your pattern to test it out, the better.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Jamie asks, as a fellow Canadian, I must know, where do you buy the majority of your yarn from? That's a great question.
Everywhere, Jamie, everywhere. I mean, that's what my husband would tell you, I swear. I buy a lot from We Crochet, even with the exchange and stuff. I really, really love their yarn. So I will, pay for the exchange, especially when they have a sale, because sometimes even with the exchange and everything, if I get free shipping, it ends up being about the same as me getting stuff here. And I like their stuff better. So I really like buying their stuff. I'll sometimes go to Michael's. That's really all we have here is Michael's and Walmart near me to get yarn. So 90% of my purchases are made online.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've been hearing, some of the horror stories about the shipping and, all the, what are they called when the other thing you have to pay?
Duties.
Duties. Yeah. Hi, Lisa.
I mean, not all of us have options like, Joann's and stuff, Ginger. So
yeah. Oh,
every time I see one of your clearance hauls, I'm like, damn it.
And Hobby Lobby. Good Lord. Every year.
Yeah, we don't have any of those here. And
you just need to make a trip down here once a summer when everything's going on sale and just go nuts.
I know. Well, when I was in New Orleans, I'm like, I'm a mile from a Joann's. I'm doing it. But then they lost my luggage.
Oh
no. So I had no clothes. And we had to end up buying it, long story short. But that took up so much time trying to track down my luggage and all the stuff going on at the conference. I never ended up getting to go to Joann's. And I was like, I'm so close. This is the closest I've ever been.
It's, everything for a reason.
I know. Maybe Joann's one day will hear my plea and they'll invite me to their store.
Yeah, that's right. They'll invite you. And who was the lady from The Office that did that? Was she doing the Michaels commercials or the Joann's?
Oh, yes. Oh, goodness.
She was knitting, right?
Yes. Gosh, I just had her name on the tip of my tongue. Yes, Phyllis. I love her.
And Lisa asked, Ashley, where are you from?
I am from Ontario, about an hour away from Toronto.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Beth. Well, gosh, the hour has already gone by. Now, I know that, let's see, you sent me all of your links for everything. So if you guys want to go visit Ashley's blog, if you want to head over to her YouTube channel, Etsy shop, and I forget what other links were in there.
Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Ravelry. I have a lot of links now that, as I'm listing them off, I'm like, I have a lot.
Do you have a Facebook group?
I do have a Facebook group. I think I forgot to send you that link though.
Okay.
But if you would want to join the Facebook group, it's called the Loopy Lamb Crochet Community on Facebook.
Yep. Lots of fun. You guys, seriously, take the time, go check out every single one of her links. You guys will find at least 3 or 4 things you want to make tonight. I'm just saying. And was there anything else that you wanted to add that we didn't get a chance to talk about? Anything that's coming up, or are they all secrets?
No, it's not all secrets. I have, more amigurumi projects coming up. I'm working on another blanket design. My favorite, it's like one of those Netflix and chill type projects. I'm working on that. And hopefully I will finish my top secret Christmas project that will come out soon at the beginning of December.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's super exciting. Well,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for having me.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming. I love it. And I love it that you've spent most of the time in your bear ears. Every- I was like, oh my gosh, you're adorable.
It's like I'm kind of regretting that I left the cat ears upstairs because I would have
Oh
gone with
no.
my leopard print, but I mean,
Oh,
can't be too picky, I guess.
that would have been perfect. You just have little round ears. Okay, well, thanks again for coming. And everybody watching, thank you so much for hanging out and talking to us. And everybody who's watching in the replay, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you later. And check out Ashley on Instagram. She's
Yeah,
awesome.
come send me a message. Love to connect with you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.